Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham.
Jai Ho.
Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanu Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Likes this. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. It's not showing that you're live. Oh, now it is. No, it's showing yesterday's. There we go. Okay, Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamanam. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavaśta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahavano Raghunatham Sajitam Sadvekam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahavano Lalita Shri Vishakam Yatangsha Om Adhyānatimirandhamsya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudasham Audarya Madhurya Gunashcha Yuktam Param Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Nārāyaṇam Tvam Shirasham Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padamritaika Vritti Chaitanya Lila Amrita Sarasaram Nārayaṇam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshakarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Prajñān Kishori Mohan Prabhu Ati Charitraya Svashritanam Shapaniye Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadariye Namo सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभारमे देवी दैताय कृपाभये कृष्ण सम्बन्ध विद्या दैने ब्रह्मवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणि श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानन्दं विरुद्धापो सिद्धान्तद्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसम्बोधे पदाम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानन्दमरायते गौराविर्भावरूपे स्वं निर्दिष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महाबलज्ञाय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो मम मन्दं मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वत्पदं भोजो राधामदनं मोहनो दिव्यं वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदं श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिधि सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवत्तत्त्वस्थितः कार्षन्मेनुस्वरगोपे गोपीनाथ श्रीस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकम् भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं विवर्धनं प्रतिफलं पूर्णामृतास्वादनम् सर्वात्मसफलं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलम् Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mridanga's coming. Every day we have to do a little ritual because of the intense humidity and the cold. The mridanga goes flat, so you have to warm it up in advance. Shri Guru Charana Kamalam Bhajaman, page 359.
You look startled for a second.
I just forgot the page number for a second. Oh, all devotees ki jai. So
Jai.
nice to see all of your names there.
Dandavad
Melts my
Pranam.
heart.
Mine too.
As we were just entering into Gopinath Bhavan, we saw Śrī Didi. And we were reflecting with her, but remembering how during the time, what they call Gurudev's departure Leela, at that time, it was a well-known fact within the inner core group of Gurudev's caretakers that if they needed anything and needed it quickly and needed good quality, they could always count on Śrī Didi.
Somehow or other she would find it, even in Delhi.
I don't know, like things that you would generally require from overseas, she would secure within a few hours. And that would be by begging. So she would actually beg people for money, and then she would find whatever products and bring it to us. And we were like, how did you do that? It was like Hanuman. She would like, boom, jump to the Himalayas, bring Govardhan. So
She made it easier for us to be able to serve.
in every way. And sometimes we were like, how are we going to do this? Oh yes, tell Śrī Didi. Boom, it was done. And so we were just reflecting on that, how she was always ready and even able, maybe by her intense desire to serve and please Gurudev, that she was able to do such a thing. And so part of Srila Gurudev's departure Leela is not just about him departing, but was also about how all of the Vaishnavas were coming together in a mood of service, bringing things from all over the world, the best of the best quality, and offering it from their heart. It was quite amazing. I mean, asparagus from Australia and this, what do you call it? These, it's just rare vegetables that people were bringing from all over the world with dry ice packs inside.
Fennel root.
Fennel bulbs, these fennel root bulbs. So many different things that were good for Gurudev and the best quality supplements, and everyone was offering it from their hearts. So many different kinds of medicines and probiotics and this and that and everything. And it was just so beautiful to witness we were there receiving it all because most of it was actually being channeled through the kitchen. And we were there receiving physically the manifestation of the heart's offering to Srila Gurudev. And it was just so overwhelming and beautiful to witness that. And even so many devotees couldn't go inside physically to see Gurudev. Even Srimati Uma Didi and Savita Didi, just didn't matter. They weren't just allowed any time to go in. And so they would just be outside, near, and just chanting. And you could see how they were offering their hearts. Everyone, whoever couldn't go inside, they were sitting outside, offering their hearts and their souls. And that was what we could see. And then, of course, all of the devotees around the world who couldn't come, but everyone who was sending their heart's affection in reciprocation for the beauty that Srila Gurudev was constantly bestowing upon them. And so as I'm seeing all of your names popping up, I'm also remembering how so many of you were also offering your hearts in that way, with the feeling of mamata, with the feeling of possessiveness. He is mine. And attachment. to Sri Guru. And that in itself, even if it was just a little particle of desire to serve and please for his benefit, that is, in essence, the beginning of bhakti, really. Anyabhilashita shunya. For him, for his benefit, for his pleasure, without considering myself, but just for him. And that is offering this mood first and foremost to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. So, now we will sing Sri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. That bhajan we knew when we were younger. That was on the cassette tapes and the LP that Achyutananda Prabhu, or Swami at the time, was singing. And he actually had come to India, on the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, to learn the bhajans and to bring those bhajans back and teach the devotees the different bhajans. And if you listen to those old LPs, the old cassettes, it's quite amazing. His pronunciation is amazing, his syncopation, his appreciation, understanding the tunes and everything that he gave. And now when I listen back, I was like, oh my God, we had those with us for our entire lives and we didn't know it. But, you know, I can't remember the tune exactly how he sang it. Yeah, Sudevi singing it. But that was with us for our whole lives. And little did we know, and some say that Gurudev didn't write it, but Srila Gurudev accepted it, that he did, and then this Bhakti Bhava Prem. I've heard other versions of it where they would say Jnana Karma Bhakti Tina Prakashata, but of course Gurudev wouldn't accept that. He would accept Bhakti Bhav and Prem Tina Prakashata. So it has been attributed to our Srila Gurudev, and because Achyutananda Swami at the time had stayed with Srila Bhaktivedānta Sridhar Maharaj and our Srila Gurudev in the mutts, there he learned so many things. In fact, when we went to visit him a few years back in Alachua, when we arrived and he opened the door, because he stays just next to where Lalita Sakhi and Lokaguru Prabhu stay, like on the other side of, it's like an attached house. He opened the door and he invited us in, and then he said, here are 2 chairs. And immediately he remembered Srila Bhaktivedānta Sridhar Maharaj, that he always kept 2 chairs available for any guests who would come. And so he shared that with us. And then he told us when he met our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Maharaj. And he said, this was his impression. He was huge! He was huge! How long his arms were, how tall he was. He said that time it was, near the departure, getting close to the departure lila of our Param Gurudev, who left in 1968. But how long, how tall he was. If you've seen a picture of Bhakti Dayat Madhav Goswami Maharaj, and Bhaktivedānta Sridhar Maharaj, and all of these, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when you look at the stature, the size of these personalities, and then remember where they come from. If you've ever been on Non-Devotees Parikrama, even myself, I'm quite short, but the Bengali ladies, I could smell the coconut oil from their head. It was up, you can see the top over the tops of their heads. But these persons were, you see a picture of Bhakti Vallabh Maharaj next to his Gurudev. Amazing. Imagine seeing a parikrama with all of these personalities. Massive, huge and golden and glowing with these Mahapurush figures, long arms. And it was amazing. Srila Gurudev said that Param Gurudev didn't need a microphone. When he would speak, he would roar. And it would move over a crowd of thousands. Everyone could hear him. So anyhow, Achyutananda Swami said that Param Gurudev was huge. And then he said, Param Gurudev said to him, if you vibrate mundane sound, you will get material results. If you vibrate Vaikuntha sound, you will get Vaikuntha results or transcendental results. And that was the one thing that he shared with us from our Param Gurudev, but it really sunk in. The more we vibrate the material sounds of this world, the more that is what will come to us, the more our absorption will be in that. So we need to learn to control the urge to speak. Vacho Begam. That does not mean by being physically silent. Our Param Gurudev said, real silence is Hari Kirtan. If we just make ourselves quiet, then the mind will run millions of miles an hour to all of these material things. So we must vibrate spiritual sound, always glorifying Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, remembering their teachings, sharing that, then transcendental results will come. So now we will sing Shri Guru Charana Kamal Bhajaman. Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Oh Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Kripa Dina Nahi Koi Sadhana Ban. Guru Kripa Dina Nahi Koi Sadhana Ban. Bhajamano Bhajamanuksham. Bhajamano Bhajamanuksham. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Nitano Hiyesa Durla Bhajan. Nitano Hiyesa Durla Bhajan. Brahmatahu Choda Brahmatahu Choda किसको मिलते हैं अहो भाग्यों से, किसको मिलते हैं अहो भाग्यों से, हरि भक्तों के दर्शन, हरि भक्तों के दर्शन। श्री गुरु चरणा कमला भजन। श्री गुरु चरणा कमला भजन। कृष्ण कृपा की आनंद Shruti Smriti Itihas Purano Mahi Shruti Smriti Itihas Purano Mahi Ino Spashto Brahma Ino Spashto Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. Sudevi, I think I'm going to need you to heat this up a little more, maybe on max, because it's very low. I turned it down, sorry.
Sorry, I'm cutting an outfit, so it's hard to move. So you want it?
I just need it more heated. Maybe because the that's off, so it's more humid in the room.
Okay, no problem.
Hare Krishna. Sakala Vaishnava Goshai Doya Kurumore, page 46. That's not gonna work. Sakala Vaishnava Goshai Doya Kurumore Tante Trina Dhari Kohe Edina Pamare Sakala Vaishnava Goshai Doya Kurumore Dante Trina ধরি কহে এ দিন পামারে শ্রী গুরু চরণয়া শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য শ্রী গুরু চরণয়া শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য পাদ পদ্ম পাওয়া মোরে করো ধন্য পাদ পদ্ম পাওয়া মোরে করো ধন্য তোমা সবার করুণা বিনে ইহা প্রাপ্তি না তোমা সবার করুণা বিনে ইহা প্রাপ্তি না বিশেষে যোগ্য মুনি কহিল নিশ্চয় বিশেষে যোগ্য মুনি কহিল নিশ্চয় বাঞ্ছকল্পতরুহা করুণা সাগর বাঞ্ছকল্পতরুহা করুণা সাগর এতো ভরসা মুনি ভরিয়ে অন্তর এতো ভরসা মুনি ভরিয়ে অন্তর গুণ দেশ নাহি মোর অপরাধের সীমা গুণলেশ নাহি মোর অপরাধের সীমা আমায় উদ্ধারিয়া লোকে দেখাও মহিমা আমায় উদ্ধারিয়া লোকে দেখাও মহিমা নাম সংকীর্তন রুচি আর প্রেম ধন নাম সংকীর্তন রুচি আর প্রেম ধন এ রাধা মোহনে দেহ হইয়া সকরুণা এ রাধা মোহনে দেহ হইয়া সকরুণা ও সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এ দিন পামারে সকল বৈষ্ণব গোসাই দয়া করো মোরে দন্তে তৃণ ধরি কহে এ দিন পামার জয় বৈষ্ণব গোসাই বৈষ্ণব গোসাই বৈষ্ণব গোসাই জয় বৈষ্ণব গোসাই বৈষ্ণব গোসাই জয় বৈষ্ণব গোসাই বৈষ্ণব গোসাই জয় বৈষ্ণব গোসাই প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো Prabhu, Kripa karo more, Doya karo Prabhu, Kripa karo more, Doya karo. Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. The Mridanga is back. Vishaya Vasana Rupa Chitera Vikar. Page 48. Page 48, Vishaya Vasana Rupa Chitera Vikara. If you don't have the songbook, Jiva Pavan Prabhu very kindly posts the bhajans in the comment section of the thread, along with their translations and generally followed by beautiful commentaries from our acharyas. And Lavangalata Didi posts the page number. So page 48, Lavangalata Didi. Śrī Rupa Gosvāmī Pād ki jai, Śrī Sat Gosvāmī Prabhu ki jai. Vishaya Vasana Rupam Chittera Vikaro Amaro Hidoye Bhoga Oriyani Vishaya Vasana Rupam Chittera Sanātana Chārāye Vishāya Nityanande Samarpire Hoyasadoya Bhave Sanātana Chārāye Vishāya Nityanande Samarpire Hoyasadoya Śrī Dāmodara Gāve Siddhanta Sharire Vibhaive Karkaro Chitta Jahe Dhari Śrī Dāmodara Gāve Siddhanta Sharire Vibhaive Karkaro Chitta Jahe Dhari Śrī Chaitanya Namo Śrī Dāmodāraṣṭakam Radha Krishna Amrito Pane Holi Bola Shota Śrī Chaitanya Namo Śrī Dāmodāraṣṭakam Radha Krishna Amrito Pane Holi Bola Shota Kangalera Sukandala Durjana Echana Vaishnava Charanashana Jacheya Kinchana Kangalera Sukandala Durjana Echana Vaishnava Charanashana Jacheya Kinchana Vaishnavero Charanashana Jacheya Kinchana Vaishnava Charanashana Jacheya Kinchana Rupa Gosvāmī Prabhu Rupa Gosvāmī 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 Jaya Rupa Sanātana 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 Rupa Sanātana Rupa Sanātana Jaya Rupa Sanātana Prabhu He 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 Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad ki jai, Śrī Sat Goswami Prabhu ki jai. You may have noticed that when I went to the last line, there is saying Kangalera Sukangala Durjana Ejana. This simple person is the most wretched among the wretched. This destitute soul begs for shelter at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. So that's the last line. Vaishnava Charanashray Jache Akinchana. This destitute soul begs for shelter at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. In many of the bhajans, we go back to the first line, the first verse, and then end it with that. So I saw that line, and I went back to go to the first one, and the first one is saying, my desire for sense objects is a perversion of consciousness which constantly impels my heart to want to enjoy. So I didn't want to end with that. I wanted to end with the prayer for the Vaishnavas. So if we become aware of what we're singing, at least reading the translations along with it, then we can understand that what is appropriate to end with and what is not. Sometimes like Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More, then that's great, we can go back to the first verse, but you don't want to end with a verse just talking about my material desires and how there's endless thirst for material enjoyment. Rather, we want to end with the prayer to the Vaishnavas, or to that personality that we're calling on. This destitute soul begs for shelter at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. And this, for me, was one of the greatest gifts of my Gurudev, of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. That we should not just do anything as a ritual because of the ritual itself, but we should understand the deep meaning behind what we are doing. Try to somehow place ourselves in that situation so that that prayer can become our prayer. He didn't like when we were just doing anything because we were supposed to, or because we had to. There's some aspect of that, but really he wanted us to search deeply within everything, every activity, whether it was Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, or anything. The deeper and deeper meanings and understandings and reasonings behind it. What is our goal? What is our purpose? What is our aspiration? Always having our goal at the forefront of the activity. Why am I doing Govardhan Parikrama? Why am I doing Vrindavan Parikrama? Why am I doing Ekadashi? Why am I chanting? Why am I serving Gurudev? What am I doing on the path of bhakti? What is my purpose? What is my goal? Srila Gurudev always wanted us to have that goal, and then the deeper understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. Like I told you before, one time he asked one devotee to tell the meaning of Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. And that devotee began telling, I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. And Gurudev stopped and he said, have your eyes been opened? Are your eyes open? And he was like, well, no. And Gurudev said, how can you say that? He said, rather, you should apply that verse practically to yourself now. Instead of saying, my eyes are open, if you're saying that, that means you won't feel the necessity, the burning urgency for them to actually become open. Oh, I'm already the seer of the truth? No. Then we should apply that verse to us here and now. Instead of saying, my eyes have been opened, we should pray to that personality. When, oh when will you open my eyes? With that premanjan, that jnananjan, the salve of knowledge, the salve of love, when will you open my eyes? So apply it to ourselves, and then that becomes sadhana, searching. Always searching. Not thinking I have attained perfection. That's why even here, this is Bhaktivedānta Thakur, but he's saying, Kangalera Sukangala, Durjana Ejana. This sinful person is the most wretched among the wretched. Only when one approaches with a mood of humility, feeling oneself lower than a straw in the street, most wretched and destitute, desperate, with that kind of mood, then one can really cry for mercy. But if I think, what do I need mercy for? I'm good. Everything's good. I don't need that really. I'm happy and comfortable where I am. How are we going to attract mercy? So for me, I feel that one of the greatest gifts that our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja gave us was to look deeply at every aspect of bhakti. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And then practically connect to that from my position, how to make it into a prayer or a calling of desperation so that I may actually move forward. on the path of bhakti, or be pulled forward by their mercy. So that's why I did not go back to the first verse, because I don't want to end with that. I want to end with the prayer to the Vaishnavas. When I was young, we also used to do bhajans. I think you may all remember this. When I was growing up in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we would also go to the temple and do bhajans. And as far as we knew, bhajans were singing the songs. But it's not just a song. Actually, bhajan is all of the aspects of bhakti that any personality undertakes to call on and attract the mercy of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. That is bhajan. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archa, all of the different aspects of bhakti that we do. Sadhu Sangha, Nam, Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathurava, Sri Murtir Shradhaya Sevan, all together is known as bhajan. Gurudev would always mention sadhan bhajan. Sadhan means the practices that we are doing to attain bhav bhakti. And bhajan just means all of these practices together, but going very deep into their internal mood, with a heart full of longing. So we had this idea that bhajans meant going to the temple and singing these songs, not really paying much attention to the translation. Or many of you may recognize from many programs that are attended that one person will read the translation and the next one will read the translation for the second verse and the third, and it all just kind of evaporates and it doesn't connect. But to go deeply into them. So that idea I had previously. It means to sing the songs of our Vaishnava Acharyas. That's bhajans. But what is it really? These songs are actually the poetry of their heart from their own practice, their own bhajan, calling out for that mercy from Sri Guru, from Vaishnavas, Rupa Goswami, Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Radha, Krishna, calling out to all of these divine personalities. This is part of their own bhajan. And in that intense state of prayer, it is manifesting in the form of poetry. So Srila Gurudev instructed that we should also call out to those personalities who have manifested their own bhajan on paper for our benefit. Gurudev said they didn't need to write it down for themselves, but for us, they have left it. And so we have a capacity to somehow learn how to pray from them. Gurudev said our own prayers, maybe they might be okay, but because of our conditioned nature, they would also be potentially connected to jnana karma and adi, any other kind of desire. Most people, when they pray, most people, even devotees, we pray for, please remove this distress that I'm dealing with. Oh, my dog is sick, please make him get better. I never prayed to you before, but please. I need money, I need this, I need that. And making God our order supplier. But if we see the words of our acharyas, then we will learn how to pray. And their words are transcendental and pure. So how can we connect to them? As Srila Gurudev said, these bhajans are not different from their hearts. They are the heart's manifestation of these Vaishnavas. And so we should also call out to these Vaishnavas, pray to them. Who wrote this bhajan? Oh, Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, please be merciful to me. This is a manifestation of your heart. Allow even one particle of your mood to plant itself in my heart and take root. Be merciful to me, Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. In this case, many years ago, we were in New Braj with Srila Gurudev. And I've told many of you before, but there are some new faces here. And I always like to remember this also for myself, because being a conditioned soul and being in Kali Yuga, we have short lives, weakened intelligence, memory is also very short. It's easy to forget. Conditioned souls have these tendencies. So even though the lessons are there and we have sat in front of Gurudev and heard so many times, he even said, why do I keep coming back? To remind you again and again, because we forget. So it's easy to find oneself just evaporating while we're supposed to be diving deep and absorbing ourselves. Rather, we can be just spacing out. Space out has, in different languages, has different... do you know what spacing out is in Italian? How do you say space out? I know in French it's dans la lune, it's like in the moon. Anyway, different languages have their words for spacing out. So, there was one Vaishnava in New Braj at the time during Gurudev's festival, and he was from Bengal. Very famous Kirtan leader. And he was singing so sweetly, Brajajana Manasukakari, except it was a tune that none of us had heard before. It was some rag he was singing and he was expert at it. And Gurudev looked right at me and he went, like, can you do this? And I just said like this, no. And he came to the end of this Brajajana Manasukakari and he failed to acknowledge the author, Nārāyaṇa Balihari. He did not say that line. He did the whole bhajan perfectly, but did not acknowledge the author. In other words, he didn't do the bhajan at all. He did it, but he didn't enter it. Because how can you approach it and not acknowledge the author? It doesn't compute spiritually. So it was Sangeeth. It was technical ability, and it was very nicely executed, but it was without acknowledging the personality who has manifested it. So he came to the end, and then Gurudev just looked at me again, and he just went like this. And I was like, oh. And then Gurudev asked him to sing another one. And he sang Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara. And again, so beautiful, a new tune and so sweet, amazing. And everyone was completely mesmerized, and Gurudev looked again at me and he went like this, can you do it? And I was like, no. And then he came to the end of Yashomati Nandana, this devotee, and he failed to sing the name of the author, Bhaktivedānta. He missed that part, that line, somehow. He came to the very end, and then Gurudev again just went like this, almost as if to say, what's the use? If one is not connecting to that bhajan, if one is not absorbing their mind, their consciousness, and connecting somehow by some prayer to the author, please manifest any particle of your mood in my heart. Then it can also be very, very distant from what we require to be able to move forward on the path of bhakti. Something might be there, chanting the names of the Lord, Yashomati Nandana, Brajabaranagara, Gokula Ranjanakana. But we all know that we cannot really approach the Lord without the mercy of His pure devotees. And when we are taking shelter of any of these manifestations of their bhajan, otherwise known as bhajans, if we pray to those personalities, be merciful to me. Please allow that to enter my heart and then dive deep. Then some potency, stronger potency will be there. Regarding these bhajans, once Srila Gurudev, we were in Govardhan at Modi Bhavan. And of course, Sudevi, myself, and Krishnadas Prabhu, we were always there on time because we had to start the bhajans and prepare. But that day, this must have been 1998 or 99. And that day, for some reason, devotees weren't coming out very quickly. And it had happened for a few days in a row. Most of the devotees would start coming out just before Gurudev would come out. And of course we know that Gurudev is constantly always absorbed in bhajan, meaning all of the practices of bhakti, as the perfect acharya, teaching by his own example. When he was taking massage, he was constantly reciting all of the shlokas, all of the ashtakams. When we take massage, we're like, oh yeah, right there. Oh, that's really good. Oh yeah. Oh, that's too hard. We have all of these other things. Oh, yeah, I like that. But he's allowing that to go on externally, but internally, fully absorbed. So maybe someone told him, he knew. The next day he came out early. Just after we did Mangalacharan, Gurudev arrived at the pandal. And he was there with us for maybe 45 minutes. And it was 3 or 4 of us, Krishna Das Prabhu, myself, Sudevi, and maybe one other in the pandal, and Gurudev sitting on the stage, and no one else was there. And gradually devotees heard, oh, Gurudev's there, so they started trickling in. And once the pandal filled up, Gurudev said, only I was here, no one else was here. You think these bhajans are not important? He said, if you don't have any enthusiasm or inspiration in bhakti, then you should sit in these bhajans and participate at least 2 or 3 times a day. They will adjust, they will change your heart. They're so powerful, so beneficial. So Srila Gurudev gave that instruction, and then from that day onward, everyone was coming very close to the beginning of the bhajans. So I just wanted to share that in this connection, that if we don't have enthusiasm in bhakti, if we pray to these personalities and we chant in their prayers have been heard by Krishna. Their prayers have been heard by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Their prayers have been heard by their Guru Varga because their prayers are pure. And if we take shelter of their moods of service, of love and affection, of their calling, it might be that our voice might be able to mix with theirs, and it might also be heard by Krishna. It may be. To somehow connect to these personalities and pray in their words is very powerful. So now we will go to pray for the mercy of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijana Nitai Gaur Chandra, page 84. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi mukhe bolo hari hari, mukhe bolo hari hari, dekho more bhai tribhuvane nai, namo doyalo data, dekho more bhai tribhuvane nai, namo doyalo data, pashupati jure pashano vidore, pashupati jure pashano vidore, shuni jaro gunogatha, shuni jaro gunogatho, samsare mojiya rohini poriya, se pade rohiro asho, samsare mojiya rohini poriya, se pade rohiro asho, apano paramo bhunjayo shamano, apano paramo bhunjayo shamano, kohoyeno jano daso, kohoyeno jano daso, parama karuna ahudui jano nitai gaurachandra, parama karuna ahudui jano nitai gaurachandra, sabayo avatara sarashiromani, sabayo avatara sarashiromani, kevalo yanandakando, kevalo yanandakando, kevalo yanandakando, kevalo yanandakando, Nitai he, Gaur he, Nitai he, Gaur he, Nitai he, Gaur he, Nitai he, Gaur he, O Nitai he, Gaur he, Nitai he, Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. I just noticed a comment up here. Miriam Mamata Muni, shouldn't it be, when, oh when, will I let you open my eyes? Because in the end, it's up to us to surrender. It's not the spiritual masters falling short. Both are necessary. The inspiration for us to even open them, in one sense, it comes also from above. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja said, Sudevi, can you tell what he said about the glances?
What is that?
I'm falling short when it comes to telling this, so
he said that everything that Sri Guru wants to tell his disciple, everything Guru wants to tell, he can't tell to each disciple There's not enough time. There are so many disciples. There's so much going on. Even during Harinam and Diksha, there are so many things Sri Guru wants to convey. So Gurudev said that the Guru conveys everything by the eyes. He said when any inspiration comes, or when you have any kind of realization, don't think that is coming from you. That is coming from the glance, the mercy of the pure devotee. So all of us, we were talking about Gurudev's glance, or Srila Prabhupada's glance, or the glance of Vaishnavas. Everything they want to say to us, they're putting in our hearts. Gurudev knows the art of transcendental speech, and usually it's either very crooked or by the eyes. Everything is told by mood. So Gurudev is telling everything by mood. Everything that he wants to give us, he's doing it, maybe not by mouth, but by eyes, by intention. Everything is being put into our hearts.
Thank you, Sudevi. So that's a very important point, that through his glance, he's giving so much. And I wanted this told in reference to what I was just going to tell you.
Well, also, there is something else to take in mind, and that is that the mercy is already there. Gurudev is already giving his glances. The mercy is around us completely and fully. You were telling that a couple of days ago. It's everywhere. So it's not necessarily that Gurudev needs to give his mercy at this point. There's both. Gurudev is giving it and we have to accept it. So it's both.
So by the merciful glance of Gurudev, that inspiration comes in the heart to even do those activities. And we should understand that this is by the will of Krishna. Why is it that billions, trillions, unlimited jivas are just rotating in samsara and not awakening their any inclination toward Krishna? Why is that? And then a few might be. Why are those ones suddenly awakened to it and the rest are not at the same time? This is according to the will and the desire of Krishna. Mahaprabhu told Rupa Gosvāmī, Erupe Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavanaji Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Out of millions and billions and trillions and unlimited jivas wandering from universe to universe, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jiva. That soul, that jiva, who is extremely fortunate. Kon Bhagyavan. Bhagyavan means fortunate. By extreme fortune, they receive the mercy of Krishna. And that mercy of Krishna manifests in the form of Gurudev. Guru Krishna Prasade. By the mercy of Guru Krishna, Krishna in the form of Gurudev, Pai means by the mercy of Guru Krishna, Bhakti Lata Bij. Bhakti Lata Bij doesn't mean a mustard seed or any seed that makes a plant. According to our Rupanuga Guru Varga, Bhakti Lata Bij means this tendency to want to love and serve Krishna. And this is awakened by the instructions and the Harikatha of Shri Guru and the pure sadhus, the pure Vaishnavas. So Diksha Guru and Shiksha Gurus, this tendency to serve Krishna. But this awakening comes by the will of Krishna. So on one hand, we have the reality where Gurudev said, my mercy is flowing like the Yamuna River. And yet I see that so many are dying of thirst on the banks because they won't drink. Because they won't drink. So it does take two. Gurudev is extending his mercy. And we also have to hold on to it. But when will I let you open my eyes? This puts all of the pressure on us. So both things are necessary. It can't just be like that. But when will I let you? But there needs to be some kind of submittance. And this is all directed by Krishna, ultimately. Not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. Not a single electron, if you believe in those things, moves without his sanction. And the awakening of the jivas is also according to the will of Krishna and Gurudev. So we can't put all of the pressure there, and we can't put all of the pressure on us. Both things are necessary. The kitten logic and the baby monkey logic. Cheshta and kripa. So the mercy is there, and we also have to hold on to that mercy. We must make that endeavor. So this is the baby monkey holding on to his mother, and the mercy is like the mother cat holding on to her baby. Mahaprabhu said both are required. And this goes in line with what we have been studying in Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Krishna's mercy is there, and Mother Yashoda's endeavor is there, and together they meet, and she is able to bind Krishna. If anyone can give me the Sanskrit terms for those two processes, you definitely get a tray of saffron burfi. You notice I said saffron. And a bowl of hot halava. There you go. Yes, this is our great misfortune, our insensitivity to the mercy. I know a lot of the stories I'm telling have been told previously. They're histories, but they're related directly to Gurudev. We were in Bath at the home of Yashodanand Prabhu and Anand Mohini, and Srila Gurudev was there with us. This was early on. I don't know exactly what year. Maybe 1999 or 2000. And Srila Gurudev was in the room with us, and he was speaking that I am like a pot mender. He said, I see that everyone's hearts in this material world are like pots, but due to being disappointed again and again, they have been shattered into so many pieces. Now we all know, even in one lifetime, even if it's not so long, however long we've lived, even in this life, our hearts have been shattered so many times. What to speak of all the millions and trillions of lifetimes beforehand. So he said, I see that everyone has these shattered pots. Their hearts are like these broken pots. And so I come to any village and I open up my shop and I call out, if anyone has a broken pot, come to me and I will fix it free of charge, and then I will fill it with nectar. And then Srila Gurudev looked at us and he had tears in his eyes. And he said, but no one is coming. And I was thinking, we're coming. But now when I look back, I'm actually, he's there. We're coming into the vicinity, but are we offering him those pieces to mend? Are we allowing him to fill our hearts with that nectar? Or are we only kind of looking from a distance? Are we really willing to accept what he wants to give? That's the question. He said, if no one comes to take what I have to give, then I will have to pack up my shop and go to the next village. And our Srila Prabhupada said, this is the eternal function of the spiritual master. Eternally helping the fallen conditioned souls to awaken to their eternal relationship with Krishna. In this connection, now I'm remembering a pastime in South Africa, where one devotee was again and again telling Srila Gurudev, Gurudev, please, I want a personal instruction from you. He said, as you're doing it is okay. No, I want a personal instruction from you. I've told you, as you're doing it's okay. Again, he was almost harassing Gurudev. Gurudev said, really, you want personal instruction from me? Yes. I want you to give up all material attachment. I want you to become like Raghunath Das Goswāmī and become exclusive and one-pointed to Krishna. The devotee was shaking like this. And Gurudev said, as you are doing, it is okay. So he also knows what our capacity is and gives us according to our capacity. For some, he might be very harsh because he knows they can take that. And for others, he has to be so soft and gentle because otherwise we will leave him and bhakti forever. So Gurudev is also acknowledging what we have the capacity to receive. And he's giving us in installments. Okay, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Can you take this? What can you do with it? I remember early on when Gurudev first told us to travel and preach. And I went into his room afterward, a few days later or anything. And he said, or maybe it was the next year. When he saw me, he said, I want that you should travel and preach my mission. And I was like, yes. And then he looked at me and he cocked his head back and he said, but you are so weak. And I was like, no, I'm strong. And he just said, we'll see. Like that. And I was thinking, why does he think I'm weak? I was thinking about physical strength. And then afterward, I was like, oh my God. He saw the reality inside. He saw how weak I am. And he just said, we'll see. We'll see. And so I'm still praying for a little bit of strength. I pray, I hope, like what Gurudev said at Talavan, that I can see that so much progress has been made. You may not be able to see it, but don't think that coming to the Dham, putting your head in the dust of the holy places, being in the Kirtan of the pure Vaishnavas, don't think that hearing this Harikatha in these holy places is having no effect. So much effect is there. You may not see it or recognize it, but I can see that so much progress has been made. So for us, this should also be a sign of hope. Krishna says even a little progress on this path can save one from the greatest danger. If you've ever been on a ship in the ocean, we have from the main island in Fiji to the little island we used to live on, Taveuni. We would take a 24-hour cargo ship cruise. It wasn't really a cruise. It was full of cockroaches and not very nice, but anyhow. And during that time, when you're on the ocean, you look out, it all looks like ocean. Another hour goes by, you look out, it all looks the same. Another hour, it all looks the same. And you can't see that any progress has been made. But anyone who is guiding, who is captain, or who is looking from a higher perspective, they can see that so much progress has been made. So Sri Guru is like this. They can see from all different perspectives and angles of vision. If we make some slight endeavor toward really trying to follow the instructions of Sri Guru and trying to hold on, then we can be assured that so much progress will be made or even has been made. Cheshta and Karuna or Kripa. Very good, Devaki. I guess you get a plate of saffron burfi. Speaking of saffron burfi, so many years ago we were in the Fiji Islands, and when Srila Gurudev came to Fiji, many of our interactions took place with him there. So when he came there, I had heard that he likes sandesh. Sandesh is a sweet made of paneer, curd. In India, curd means yogurt, but in the rest of the world, I think it means when you curdle the milk. So it is made with paneer. And you make that paneer very smooth by kneading it, and then you add powdered sugar and any flavor or anything like that. So we knew that he couldn't take it too sweet because he had some issues with his health. And also to make the flavoring just quite light. So I made two different kinds of sandesh, and I was kneading it for such a long time to make it very smooth. So one of them was rose flavored, and the other one was saffron flavored. And were you kneading it too? Okay, it was Sudevi and myself. I was just absorbed in myself, as I usually am. Forgive myself. Jai. So, we were making the sandesh for Srila Gurudev. And then, we brought it to Pujabhat Madhav Maharaj, and he placed it on Gurudev's plate. I think he put something like 4 or 5 pieces of each. But Gurudev knew he's not supposed to take too many sweets or too much because he had some pre-diabetic condition. So Mahārāja would put them on the plate, but Gurudev knew he shouldn't take them, and then maybe he would take a pinch and then the rest would be given as prasad. So Pujapad Mahārāja, I think he was maybe still Naveen Krishna Prabhu at that time. We came to the house where Gurudev was, and Mahārāja was yelling at us, "Why do you make it so good? Gurudev ate everything! Gurudev took everything! Why do you make it like that?" And we were like, "I'm sorry, we just made it the best we could for Gurudev." And then when we went into Gurudev's room, Gurudev said, "Oh, I got in such big trouble from Mahārāja. He said, your Shandesh was so good, I ate everything." He said, "I ate everything." Like 8 or 10 pieces, he ate all of it. And then afterward, he began instructing us. He said it was so nice, it wasn't too sweet, and the flavor was not too strong, and very nice. He said, but one thing. He said, in the hot season, in the summer season, we don't offer saffron to Thakurji, because it's very heating to the body. And in Fiji, it was quite warm at the time. And so we were like, oh, okay. We never knew this before. But even this, whatever interaction was there, Srila Gurudev's absorption was constantly in serving Radha and Krishna. And he took this entire situation and brought it to such a refined detail that Radha and Krishna don't take saffron in the summer because it's too heating. So there are other different flavors which Radha and Krishna will take in the summer and what they will take in the winter. The same with when you massage oils, how you massage shalagram, whatever it is, it's all according to their nature, what they're accepting, the seasons. And this is something that Gurudev is well aware of constantly, 24 hours a day. So I just wanted to share that because I mentioned a plate of saffron burfi, but it happens to be that Devaki won that, so it's not in the southern hemisphere where it's summer, it's in England or Wales, where it is currently cold and quite damp. So saffron burfi, ki jai. Sudevi, yes? Since we're talking about food, you want to tell about that cake we made for Gurudev?
No, you tell it.
Oh gosh.
You always tell it.
Okay. So, Sudevi is expert at making cakes. And she made the most amazing devil's food, double dark. I think it was chocolate, or was it carob? Chocolate cake.
Gurudev ate chocolate.
Gurudev took chocolate. So she made this very, very good. It was so soft, it was moist, it was fluffy, it was just the best, perfect cake. It was perfection from a Western baking standard, especially not using eggs. It was good. And we gave it to Pujapad Mahārāja to give to Gurudev. And then afterward, when we saw Gurudev, Sudevi and I were in his room. He said, "Oh, your cake?" And we were both so excited. He said, "Too much ras. I like somewhat dry." And we were like, who are you and what did you do with our Gurudev? Because Gurudev, he's Rasik Acharya, and he's like, it's too much ras. I like somewhat dry. And then we realized in Vrindavan, especially at that time, they weren't getting white flour. Everyone was cooking with atta. And so he was used to whole wheat cakes, which were made in interesting ovens. It was like a aluminium box that you put on top of your fire on the stove. So the bottom usually was a little bit extra dark or even burnt. And then you had a very firm, kind of dry cake. And we thought he would appreciate that one, but he just said, too much ras. I like somewhat dry. And we just thought it was so funny that Gurudev would actually speak those words, that they would come from his mouth. So, can we eat chocolates? You know, Srila Gurudev would tell us that when Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj was encouraging his very young disciple, Srila Bhaktivedānta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, that time, Santosh, to learn shloks. For every shlok he would learn, for every verse he would learn, our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, would give him chocolates. Now, in India, I don't know if chocolates means just candies or toffees or anything like that, but he would just say chocolates. So, I'm not sure, but I know that Srila Gurudev would accept offerings which were made that had chocolate in them. He didn't make a big deal about it.
He used to eat it until Shamarani Didi pressured him.
Okay. They say that he used to accept it until he was, I'm not going to mention the name, but until he was pressured by one devotee that, you know, well, we're not supposed to take it. So then Gurudev said, okay, I won't take it. But interestingly enough, I'm just going to give a little tidbit of information. Back in the day when we were little kids and we knew they were 11 zonal acharyas, the children used to select them according to their, their diets or their inclinations. So some wanted to take initiation from Bhagavan because he had expensive taste and gold-plated taps and velvet curtains. And some wanted to take from Hridayananda Maharaj because he would eat chocolate. And they were like, well, he eats chocolate, so I'm going to go with him. So then the more common recent joke came, so in Gaudiya Math, you can eat chocolate, but you can't have carrots, huh? So now it's a toss-up between carrot, halva, or chocolate. So it's just off the subject, but I thought that was a little funny. So can we eat chocolate? Really, we should always only take Krishna Prasadam. And we should try to consider what would be pleasing to Krishna and move along that platform. When we offer, we should consider, is this offerable to my Gurudev? Will he accept it? Will my Guru Varga accept this? Would they want to offer this to Krishna? Will Krishna accept this? And moving on that path, then we can accept. There was one time when Gurudev was going to go to Canada for the first time. And since he was quite young, he had heard about something called Canada Dry. That's a ginger ale with the name Canada Dry. And he just wanted to try it because he'd always heard of it through his whole life. He said, oh, so I'm going to Canada. I want to try some Canada Dry. So the devotees, he was Judge Mohan, went out and bought like 10 big 2-liter bottles of Canada Dry and other snacks and everything. And they wanted to make a party of it. You know, that Gurudev was going to have Canada Dry, and so we're going to all have a big party and do this and that. So Gurudev just took a little bit. Oh, that's Canada Dry, simply. And then after that, he didn't take it anymore. He didn't want them to use it as an excuse to just enjoy in his name. So he just wanted to test it like that. And one time, I think maybe it was on the airplane or any other time, and he just needed a little energy, and they gave him a Kit Kat. You know, it's a little chocolate-covered wafer. And he took it and he said something to the effect, oh, Krishna would like this. And then all the devotees went out and started getting Kit Kats. We should not, how do you say, overextend the definitions.
Remember the Canada
I just told that.
Why did I hear that?
Because you were cutting Thakurji's clothes.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, carob is still good. We grew up with carob
I like carob
instead of chocolate. Carob was our chocolate, so Sudevi and I have a very strong affinity toward carob. More than chocolate, interestingly enough. So, watch out for the chocolate police. According to our gurus, our individual gurus' personal preferences, then we may follow that way. Our Gurudev did not take certain things and requested us not to take it. And whatever, you can say concessions also, Srila Prabhupada gave. There's so many concessions that have been made for all of us. if we were, as Srila Prabhupada said, if I were to tell you all of the rules, you would faint in a moment. So they have made it quite easy for us compared to how it was when they first joined the temple. For us, they've given so many concessions. Srila Prabhupada said, just for now, take shelter of the holy names, chanting, dancing, feasting, and gradually over time, all of the rules can be introduced. So it's different strokes for different folks. If we want to progress on the path of bhakti, gradually we will start to accept more and more of the tapasya, you can say. Naturally, it will happen as we're really progressing, that our Goswamis were doing. What were they taking? A little hand of buttermilk? Maybe like Sanatana Gosvāmī, just a dough ball put on fire? And then he would just take that as his prasadam, no salt or anything. They were so absorbed deeply in serving and remembering and chanting the names of Krishna that they had no time to even think about all of these other things. In that deep absorption, we have so much time to think about what we like, what satisfies our tongue, how to fill our belly, what will be pleasing to us and our family and our friends. But they were completely absorbed in serving Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day. Sankhya purvaka nama gana nativi kala vasani krito nidrahara. They could barely even sleep. Nidrahara viharakari vijito chatyanta dinochayo. Radha Krishna guna smriter. Always remembering the beautiful qualities, the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Madhurimanandena sammohito. Vande Rupa Sanatano, Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. So we can also pray, when will that time come in my spiritual journey, when I stop chasing after satisfaction of my tongue, Jitva Begam, always wanting to please my tongue. Srila Gaura Kishore Babaji Maharaj, once, it is said, he desired something. And then immediately he thought, oh, you foolish mind, what are you desiring? Here, take something else. And he was just eating bitter neem leaves. And then he would take the mud of Jamuna and eat that. You foolish tongue, you take this. Stop trying to enjoy the things of this material world. What did Raghunath Das Goswami do? Previously, he was begging outside of Jagannath temple. But then he even felt, oh, I'm looking, who's going to give me next? Who's going to give me next? And he began feeling, oh, this is like prostitute mentality. Who is going to pay me? Who is going to give me something? Looking from here to there. He thought, I don't even want to be like this. So what did he do? He would go to that place, the drain, after they would clean all of the paraphernalia from Jagannath's kitchen. What went through the drain? That would start getting pretty funky pretty quick. You know, the slimy and rotten. Even the cows wouldn't eat it. But Raghunath Das Goswami went to that. What was rejected by everyone else, then he took that. He would wash it, dry it. We would have said maybe a pinch of salt or anything. But he would wash it and dry it, and then he would take that as his sustenance. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found out, heard about this, he became so pleased, and he went to see Raghunath Das Goswami, and he was greedy to take what Raghunath Das Goswami was taking. Whatever prasad you're taking, I want that. So Mahaprabhu was so pleased by the renunciation of Raghunath Das Goswami. And Srila Gaura Kishore Babaji Maharaj, who is Sakshat Vairagya, the form of renunciation himself. He said about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, his own disciple, that I see in my Prabhu, he called his disciple his master, I see in my Prabhu the renunciation of Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswami. Amazing, isn't it? This kind of renunciation also Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had. Yeah, Prabhupada drinks 7-Up, so we should all go drink 7-Up. No. Different times, different places. We should always be under guidance. Not everything that they do is something for us to just copy. Srila Prabhupada would always tell us, and Mahaprabhu also told us, avoid taking food from non-devotees. Why? Because consciousness is injected into food. Oh, but this is made by machines. Who has manufactured those machines, and for what purpose? It's for increasing their monetary position in this world. So with greed for acquiring wealth, they have manufactured this, and that mood is going into everything. And we ingest that, and then what happens to us? Consciousness is transmitted through so many different things. So if we look at it from that perspective, that's why Srila Prabhupada made a very rigid situation where we do not take food prepared by non-devotees. Mahaprabhu said if one takes that, their hearts will become wicked. Because of that association, ingesting that association. Association comes in so many ways. So, if we're very careful about this, I mean, when we were little, everything was fresh. We never ate anything from a can. We never ate any what they called karmi grains. Why is it called karmi grains? Because it is infused with the karmic desires of those persons who are manufacturing or making them. And it does affect our hearts and our consciousness. Is it offerable to Krishna? Was it made with love and affection for Krishna? This is also something to consider. If we really want to follow that principle, then we will take it into consideration very carefully. Sudevi asked a question the other day. Then why do we offer those sweets that are made on the street? We just go and buy a box of sweets and offer it to the deities here. It wasn't made with love and affection for Thakurji. And I said, well, that's a good point. Actually, it was not made with love and affection for them. It's made with intention to sell and to make money. So why are we buying that and offering it? If we have a high standard, proper standard, then whatever we do, from the first thought to going to get any ingredients, to preparation, to cooking, to cleaning, to offering, everything will be done with intention, with a mood that may this be pleasing to Krishna. Any affection I have should be accepted by Krishna. Oh Gurudev, please offer this to Krishna. Maybe my heart is not pure, but if there's any love and affection in there, any desire for love and affection, Gurudev, please pass this message on to Krishna. So we call Gurudev first, please come. We give Achman to Gurudev. You have here, give him a seat. Welcome, Gurudev. Now here, please offer this to your Thakurji. Like that. So now we will continue. Gorapahu Nabhajiya Mainu. So like you said, what page is that? You want that too? Okay. Gorapahu Nabhajiya Mainu. Page 83 in the songbook. Gorapahu by Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Sachinandana Jai Gaurahari, Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaurahari, Nandana Jai Gaurahari, Gaurahe, Gaurahe, He Gaurahe, Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Funny, this tune somehow is linked to Radhika Ahuja. I've heard her sing it so many times for Gurudev in so many different festivals, and for some reason when I started singing it, I saw her face in the beginning because she was always singing it for Gurudev, and then she just showed up. Sudevi heard my heart. One time she painted a beautiful, beautiful picture, heart's rendition of our Mahaprabhu. Beautiful. And Gurudev said she has very beautiful eyes. Sorry about that. Hope it didn't embarrass you, but anyhow, Gurudev said it, so it's true. Today, for us here in Vrindavan, is Ekadashi. So thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of pilgrims who don't know anything about a lockdown or anything like that are happily doing Braj Mandal Parikrama, mask-free, worry-free, happily. Right, thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's a very, very busy day today on Ekadashi. This was another speciality of our Śrīla Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. We will sing Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu, which is page 216. I know I've said it before, but because we're also remembering Śrīla Gurudev specifically and his foci. Even up until the very end of his physical manifest presence in this world, Gurudev wanted two things. He wanted a picture of his Gurudev in front of him, Param Gurudev Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Okay, three things. The other two are linked together. He wanted the time, and he wanted a picture of his Gurudev. And he had a repetitive question. When is Ekadashi? When is Ekadashi? And for us as disciples or aspiring disciples or admirers of Śrīla Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he focused a lot of attention on following Ekadashi properly. To the point that if we missed breaking it within the proper time, even by a moment, the next day, it would be considered that we didn't follow it properly. So he instituted a very strict following of Ekadashi. When to begin, when to end. And he would always tell the history of Mahārāja Ambarish and Durvasa, which I'm not going to go into at this moment, but I might just touch on it. So Durvasa, Mahārāja Ambarish was following Ekadashi, but a special vow of Ekadashi where he followed for quite a long time. And the time for breaking came. And just at that time, Durvasa Muni came and said, I want to come and take prasadam with you, but first I'm going to go and bathe and do my rituals, and then I'll be back. So according to Vedic society, when any guest is coming, you should never eat before your guest. If you do this, it's considered offensive. One should serve their guests first, and then they should honor afterward. And Durvasa Muni was a highly respected, great personality. He plays in all of the pastimes of the Lord. We should actually understand that he's a non-different manifestation of Lord Shiva, who is always creating some kind of difficulties or troubles. For what purpose? To always enhance the glories of the Lord's devotees and the glories of the Lord. This is part of his lila and pastime. But anyhow, this Durvasa Muni went, and he took a long time. He was not returning. And the time was coming when Ekadashi should be honored, meaning it's time to break Ekadashi, this Ekadashi Vrat. In the same way that Krishna is coming to your door at a certain time, so you welcome him. And then when he's going out, you also need to make sure that you're aware of that and honor him at that time as well. So, Durvasa Rishi was taking a long time. Ambarish Maharaj was saying, what should I do? What should I do? I don't want to offend him, but I don't want to offend Ekadashi either. This is the same as offending Krishna. Gurudev said we should honor Ekadashi and serve Ekadashi the same as Krishna. So, Maharaj Ambarish was guided by his Brahmins and priests and everyone that you can break and not break at the same time. Don't take food or anything, but since you have been doing nirjala, no water, then you can break with a little charanamrita. Charanamrita, otherwise. So charanamrita, and that will be considered not really breaking, but also it will break your fast. So Maharaj Ambarish, not wanting to disrespect Ekadashi, decided I will take a little charanamrita to break. When Durvasa Muni knew of this, Durvasa became enraged. And he decided that this person, Ambarish Maharaj, does not deserve to live. So Durvasa ripped a dread out of his hair and threw it at the ground and made a massive fiery demon for the purpose of destroying Maharaj Ambarish. When that fiery demon went to Ambarish Maharaj, he threw his arms in the air and said, Rake Krishna Marike, Mare Krishna Rakeke. If Krishna wants to kill me, no one can save me. And if Krishna wants to save me, no one can kill me. Whatever is coming to me is due to my own karma. It is the mercy of Krishna. So, Hridvar Bhagavad Namaste, always focusing his mind, his heart, his words, and everything on the lotus feet of the Lord. He was completely undisturbed. Even death was coming to him, undisturbed. But Krishna himself takes personal offense when anyone tries to hurt his devotee, his pure devotee. So what did Krishna do? Nārāyaṇa sent his Sudarshan Chakra to rescue Maharaj Ambarish. The first thing Chakra did was destroy that fiery demon. Its name was Kacha. Then went after Durvasa Muni. Went after Durvasa, but Durvasa was a very powerful mystic yogi. He was able to travel at the speed of mind. So imagine if I said right now, the moon. We all think of the moon that fast. He's able to travel like that. The sun, just like that. How fast? And Chakra was always at his back, burning his back. He was going under the water from planet to planet, here and there, bouncing back and forth everywhere. Finally, he went to Lord Brahma. Brahma's like, I can't help you. He went to Lord Shiva. I can't help you. He went to Nārāyaṇa. Nārāyaṇa says, I cannot help you. Can you remove a thorn from your head if it goes into your foot? No, you must remove the thorn from how it went in. Durvasa Muni understood the instruction of Srimad Nārāyaṇa and went and fell flat at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj, who lifted him up and embraced him. Why are you doing this? You have not done anything wrong. Whatever is coming to me is due to my own karma. And immediately, Ambarish Maharaj petitioned Chakra, please be merciful and leave Durvasa alone. Durvasa realized the greatness of Ambarish Maharaj. But Srila Gurudev would tell this katha and so many other Ekadashi kathas, every Ekadashi, showing us how much he valued this Ekadashi Vrat. Srila Gurudev instituted a calendar for all devotees around the world to follow, and he himself followed in a particular way. As Acharya, as our Gurudev, he was teaching us by his own example. Wherever he was in the world, he followed according to that local calendar. The holy days of the Lord, Narasingha Chaturdashi, Ram Nomi, wherever he was, he followed it according to the Panjika for that location. And all of us, disciples, aspiring disciples, admirers, would follow along with him. Subsequent to the departure, physical departure of Srila Gurudev, so many adjustments were made. And they tried to impose this upon all of the devotees as well, who are Gurudev's disciples. But what is the mood of a disciple? As my Gurudev is doing, as he would do here and now, I will follow him. How would he be if I was eating grains in front of him on Ekadashi? He would be livid. Gurudev did not like us to disrespect Krishna or disrespect Ekadashi. How will I be sitting next to him? What is he doing? How will he be? We should ask ourselves these questions constantly through every moment of our day and night. And then, I'm talking to myself here, act accordingly in a way that will be pleasing and beneficial. For our bhakti, beneficial. For Gurudev, what should be pleasing to my Gurudev? We would never disrespect Ekadashi or break it in front of him. After his disappearance, some other ideas were introduced, but no one introduced it in his presence. So as disciples, we should try to follow what he did. He followed so strictly, and he wanted us to also follow as he followed. And he gave as an example himself. How he followed, when he followed, where he followed, by what calculations he followed. His disciples should also make that endeavor to follow. So I just wanted to share that. And the calendar he authorized was the calendar that is presented on purebhakti.com. He authorized that himself. And he even made a concession. If there happens to be any mistake in the calculation, he said, not that there is, there might be. This is the nature of anything. I will take personal responsibility. So, to follow Sri Guru, this is the most important thing. Yeah, I remember even on the first Anukut Mahamahotsav that we did with our Gurudev in Govardhan, he said, you're not qualified to come up here to walk on Giriraj, but you're coming under my guidance and I'm taking responsibility for all of you. So how do we serve Krishna? Can we just follow Ekadashi? No. Can we just serve Krishna? No. Can we just chant Harinam? No. Pratamam tu Gurum Puja. First of all, you serve and worship Sri Guru. This is Vyas Puja. First of all, you serve and worship Sri Guru. Then I will accept your service. Otherwise, not. Anyatha nishphala bhavet. Everything will be fruitless. So if we put Gurudev first and foremost, I'm now going to serve Krishna in Krishna's mercy form as Ekadashi. I cannot just approach Ekadashi like this. I must also approach Krishna in the form of Ekadashi via the medium of my Gurudev. Then I can approach. Gurudev said you should worship Ekadashi the same as Krishna. How to worship Krishna? First Gurudev, then Krishna. If I tried to go around my Gurudev or do anything else that would be displeasing to him, then how will Krishna accept my worship? So this was a very strong point of our Gurudev's teachings. After the disappearance of our Gurudev, so many different ideas crept up. So many different things. Things were being done like ritvik initiations on behalf of Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Oh my God. If anyone ever heard anything our Gurudev said about this, let me just say, he was very heavy on this point. Very heavy. He gave so many very powerful classes about this subject itself. And people were doing it on his behalf. Having heard those, no way. Gurudev would totally reject the idea. Absolutely. And it's up to the disciples to understand this and not accept it. oh yeah, it's okay, it's just, no. The more we twist, manipulate, change, add, concoct onto or away from the teachings of our Gurudev, that Vani is what makes the Bapu. It will no longer be Gurudev. You compromise, it is no longer Guru. It's no longer that substance. It is no longer that person. It is something else. Unrecognizable. So all of these deviations or adjustments or manipulations, they're not acceptable to Gurudev himself. Then how can we claim to be following Gurudev? It's just illusion. Gurudev said, now I am here, and all of these things are being checked. But after I leave, it's a very dangerous time is coming. I do not know what will happen after I leave, he said. A very dangerous time is coming. If one is not following their Gurudev, his moods, his conclusions, his train of thought, if they are not following that purely, then they are bound to become sahajya, he said. Sahajya means creating, concocting, manipulating, making light of everything. It's not a big deal. We don't need to worry about following Ekadashi like Gurudev did. It's not a big deal. We don't need to worry about following Gurudev's moods and teachings on Jiva Tattva. It's not a big deal. We don't need to worry about following his teachings on what is Rupa Anuga, who our Guru Varga are, who Srila Prabhupada. It's not a big deal. Let's just make light of everything. And then anything anyone does doesn't matter anymore. It all just becomes a free-for-all. That's not how our Guru Parampara or Guru Varga worked. That's not how Mahaprabhu worked. That's not how Raghunath Das Goswami or Rupa Goswami or Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur or Bhaktivedānta Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, our Gurudev, none of them operate, our Param Gurudev, none of them operated with as you like. Jatomat Tatopat. Whatever path you want, you take that path. No, they were completely not along those lines. Everything was very, very strict. If we want our Gurudev to be pleased with us, we first must ask that question deep inside. What did he instruct? What would he want? What has he given? What example has he set? And then follow. This should be the first and foremost question on the mind of any disciple within the heart. Otherwise, what will become of us? We will have nothing left. It won't be Gurudev any longer, as Sudevi just said, unrecognizable. So how he followed Ekadashi and how he directed us. One exception to the calendar he gave. Very strongly, he wanted a calendar made for Vrindavan according to Vrindavan time. And he gave the instruction to Amal Krishna Prabhu to do that calendar according to Vrindavan time. Sometimes there's a slight variation between that one and the one on Pure Bhakti calendar. So according to that, then we follow Gurudev's instruction for that. As he gave in Vrindavan, we follow that. And he wanted it specifically for Vrindavan time, and he would follow according to that calendar. And then for the rest of the world was this Pure Bhakti calendar. So we follow according to our Gurudev. If one breaks Ekadashi, it's very heavy instructions given in Shastra. What does it tell? If you break Ekadashi, it's like killing your father and your mother and your guru and cows and all good things. It's like really bad if you are disrespecting and breaking Ekadashi. And of course, if you follow Ekadashi, it's like serving your guru and Radha and Krishna and your mother and father and everything good. In other words, whatever one does on Ekadashi day is amplified thousands of times, either positive or negative. So we try to avoid any negative thing and only do those things that are positive for bhakti on Ekadashi, then it is maximized thousands of times.
Kishori, it stopped.
Jolly girl.
Okay.
I can't even tell that it has stopped yet.
Oh, maybe I'm just offline.
Maybe you're just off the line.
Wow. I think I'm offline. It just
So,
stopped.
if we take into consideration that Sri Guru is the embodiment, the condensed form of the mercy and compassion of Krishna, and would never do anything himself that would be displeasing to Krishna, and would certainly not engage any of his disciples in what we know as doing something which is unfavorable for bhakti. That would be violence to the jiva. How can that person who is the embodiment of the compassion and mercy, the condensed compassion and mercy of Krishna, whose heart bleeds upon seeing the suffering of the jivas, who is made of mercy, how can that person encourage any of his own dependents to do any activity which would actually be opposed to bhakti? It's impossible. It's impossible. So I have to look at my Gurudev. You have told me to do this. You have ordered me to follow Ekadashi like this. You have ordered me to honor the appearance days of Vaishnavas like this, and their disappearance days, the appearance days of the forms of Bhagavan like this. It is impossible for you, as I understand, you are the form of Krishna's mercy, and you only have my benefit at heart. It would be impossible for my Gurudev to send me on the path which is equivalent to killing my own guru, to killing the Brahmins, to killing cows and my own parents. I know it's heavy, but I need to make this very clear. My Gurudev has the word of Krishna. And I will be obedient to that word in every way, says Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Any other conception or current of consciousness which is opposed to that, I will throw out with a punch of my fist. Means any other conception. Look at how our Param Gurudev was. If anyone went against Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada and his teachings, which were all verified by Shastra, our Param Gurudev would fight it strongly. He wouldn't just accept anything. Never. Our Srila Prabhupada wouldn't just accept anything. Never. Our Srila Gurudev would not just accept anything. Never. He accepts the truth. They hold tight to the truth. And to the degree that we hold on to them, then we can also hold on tightly to the truth. But if we just accept anything in the name of bhakti, it all goes. Then what do we have? There's no spiritual movement. It's not a movement. It'll become stagnant. It will become stagnant because there's nothing, there's no foundation. If there's no foundation, then what do we have? It will only be an illusion. It'll be a very weak structure that can collapse at any moment. So Guru Nishta means holding tightly to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, means his moods, his conceptions, his teachings, holding tightly to that. Then we can hope to move forward on the path of devotion. Srila Gurudev said, don't try to please everyone else. If you try to please everyone, you will fail, guaranteed. Maybe we can please 2 or 3, but in the process we might be displeasing so many others. He said, what should our mood be? Our mood should be how to please Gurudev. How to please Gurudev. He spoke this in the Gurudwara at the time in Birmingham, around Rath Yatra time. I remember him asking that question. Should you try to please everyone else or should you try to please Gurudev? He said, if you try to please everyone, you will fail. Guaranteed. Your mood should be how to please Gurudev. If that is our mood, how to please Gurudev, he said then everything automatically will be properly placed. And this is proven by the words in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Yathataror mula nishechanena tripyanti tatskanda vijopashaka pranopaharach chaitandriyanam tataiva sarvahanam achyutejya. Don't try to water each individual leaf of the tree. Water the branches. You give water to the root and automatically the entire tree is nourished. All of the leaves, the branches, the fruits, the flowers, everything is nourished. Don't try to give food to your ears and your nose and your eyeballs or anything else. You put food in your mouth and into your stomach and automatically your entire body is nourished. In the same way, when you give your love, affection, faith, shraddha, nishta, ruchi, asakti, everything to the lotus feet of Krishna, then everything is properly situated. The entire tree is nourished. And first and foremost form of Krishna in our lives, that is Shri Gurudev. Therefore, Shastra says, Rupa Goswami says in Bhaktivedānta Sindhu, the first limb of the 64 limbs of bhakti, Ado Guru Padashray. First of all, you serve Shri Guru. What would I do if I were sitting next to him? How would I be? What would he be pleased with? That I'm changing the teachings of his Gurudev? That I'm changing his practice, what he showed by his own example, and trying to change his disciples' faith in him? That I would change the teachings that he gave on what is Rupanuga? What is the mood of our Srila Prabhupada? He said, I know who he is. I know who he is. Again and again. And he would tell us who he is. In Krishna Lila, he didn't mention the name, but he would still tell us how he is serving. Just like Sri Rupa. And he would say, my Gurudev was not wrong. My Gurudev gave him Gopi Bhav mantra. I painted all the Manjari mantras on his transcendental body when we put him in Samadhi. Gurudev's story was consistent from day one until the last time we heard him speak about it. He never at once or at any time changed his position. And when someone tried to change it, he wrote to them, please don't try to change my position. You cannot do so. You can believe whatever you want, but you cannot change my conviction. I have conviction, or I want to have conviction in the convictions that my Gurudev has. If we try to please Gurudev, then automatically everything will be properly placed. If we do not have that, then we will have no backbone. Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. A body without a backbone is quite useless. So, taking shelter of Shri Gurudev, acting in such a way that Gurudev will be pleased, doing those activities, tat tat karma pravartanat, which are favorable for bhakti, meaning what my Gurudev has given me, I will accept this. Then we can please Gurudev. We should not be weak. Gurudev didn't want his disciples to be weak. He said, I don't want little kittens. He said, I want all of you. He was speaking especially to his daughters. In fact, he had just heard Damodar Priya in Australia speak. And it's not like she was so well versed in all of the Shastras, but anyhow, when he had her speak, she got up and very boldly spoke because he ordered her to. And whatever she did, he accepted the essence of that and was so pleased with it. And he said, I want all my daughters and my sons to be bold, like lions, he said. Not like little kittens. He said, like lions, jumping on the heads of the elephants of aparad, apasiddhanta, sahajya, and all kinds of misconceptions, jumping on their heads and roaring loudly. Gurudev wanted this of his children. That means not accepting any nonsense in his name. Representing him as it is. This is how we can serve him and how we can please him. He said, what you have learned from me, you can tell others. That is how you can serve me. Otherwise, in millions of lifetimes, you cannot repay me for what I have given you. So our Srila Prabhupada was very fond of the term, as it is. And our Srila Gurudev is also fond of this concept. We follow the teachings of Sri Guru as it is, without unnecessary opposition. If we want our Gurudev to be pleased with us, we should not manipulate, concoct, switch, change, twist, or anything like that. Gurudev asked the question, does anyone have the right to change the words of their Guru? And one devotee said, well, maybe if. And Gurudev said, no, never. Anyone who does this is the nature of a demon who is taking, twisting, and changing, manipulating. He said, never. We don't have the right to do that. One person came to the mutt and tried to get our Gurudev to retract something that Param Gurudev had said many years before. Can you imagine how livid Gurudev was at the idea? Someone comes and says, retract what your Guru Maharaj has said. Never, never, and never. If one accepts that their Guru is the manifestation of Krishna, who is always representing the absolute truth, then there is no mistake that my Guru can make. Brahm, Pramada, Karanapatava, Vipralipsa, these four do not occur within Sri Guru, within the pure devotees, within the Tattvadarshis. Illusion, making mistakes, imperfect senses, and cheating others, this does not occur within those all-perfect transcendental personalities. So to attempt to adjust them, to change them. Reconciliation can be there, understanding, especially if it's verified by Shastra and Acharyas. Reconciliation is one thing, but to take, twist, change, manipulate, remove, or anything like that, no disciple has the right to do such a thing. Gurudev was very strong on this point as well. And again, and again, and again, and again, 1,000 times I heard him say, Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. Now, of course, this is a high aspiration, but still Srila Gurudev wanted. He said, before I depart from this world, I want that all of my disciples will come to the point of Nishta. Whether or not that took place, that's another thing, but this was his desire. And so if somehow we have not come to that platform yet, then we should aspire to somehow please him by coming to that platform. That, O Gurudev, please be merciful to me. Until now I have not been able to fulfill your desire, but I know that you want me to come to that platform. Please help me. And take association with other Vaishnavas who will encourage us to hold tightly to his lotus feet. That means his moods, his conceptions, his teachings. To hold very tightly and to never let go. So, I read Jiva Pavana Prabhu's comment there, my connection has become poor, anyone else having trouble? Yes, me. My connection to my Gurudev has become poor and I'm having trouble, so I'm praying to my Gurudev. Please make that connection strong. Keep me tucked closely to your lotus feet. So now we're going to sing Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu. It's interesting that the Ekadashi song that we sing every time starts with the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotees is favorable for bhajan. And serving the pure devotees, this will bring the highest perfection. It is the root cause of attaining Krishna Prem. And then we speak about the holy days of the Lord. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanaya Kula Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanaya Kula Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karam Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamula Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Madhavati Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Krishna Vasati Vasati Boli Paramaya Dare Boli Krishna Vasati Vasati Boli Paramaya Dare Boli Gaurayama Jesavasthani Karala Brahmandarange Gaurayama Jesavasthani Karala Brahmandarange Se Sabasthanu Heri Boyami Pranayi Bhagata Sange Se Sabasthanu Heri Boyami Pranayi Bhagata Sange Vidangavadra Shunite Mono Avasara Sadajache Vidangavadra Shunite Mono Avasara Sadajache Govitam Kirtan Shuni Anande Hedonanache Gauravihitam Kirtan Shuni Anande Hedonanache Jugala Murti Dekhiya Moro Param Dayananda Hoya Jugala Murti Dekhiya Moro Param Dayananda Hoya Prasada Seva Korite Hoya Sakala Prapancha Jaya Prasada Seva Korite Hoya Sakala Prapancha Jaya Jedinga Grihe Bhajana Dekhi Grihe Te Goloka Bhayo Jedinga Grihe Bhajana Dekhi Grihe Te Goloka Bhayo Charana Situ Dekhiya Ganga Sukonasi Mahapayo Charana Situ Dekhiya Ganga Sukonasi Mahapayo Tulasi Dekhi Juraya Prano Madhava Toshani Jani Tulasi Dekhi Juraya Prano Madhava Toshani Jani Gaurapriya Shakto Sevane Jivana Sarathamani Gaurapriya Shakto Sevane Jivana Sarathamani Bhakti Vinoda Krishna Bhajane Anukulo Pajaha Bhakti Vinoda Krishna Bhajane Anukulo Pajaha Prati Divase Param Sukhe Svikara Kurudetaha Prati Divase Param Sukhe Svikara Kashi ki jai. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, followed by Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. So 343 and 341. My God, time is getting late already. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, O Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande, Mana Manasa Madhukaram Parpayo Nijapada Vrindanam Madhuri When Srila Gurudev first came to the US, and he came to Seattle, at that time he had all of us sitting in this very packed room. I didn't know where everyone came from. I didn't know there were that many devotees in Seattle at the time, but the room packed. And somehow I was in the position of leading the kirtans. So as I was sitting in front of him, my harmonium was his book stand. That's how close we were to each other. And I was leading Gauranga Balite Have, as I had heard from his cassettes. Well, it wasn't his cassettes, someone recorded him doing kirtan. You know that one? He's like, Gauranga, Gauranga Balite Have. He's like singing at the top of his voice, right? Like that. And then Radhe Radhe Govinda. So I was following like that. And then after I finished the kirtan, he was like signaling me, do the next part, and so I was able to follow. And then he asked, do you know the difference between kirtan and sangeeth? And I said, no. And he said, sangeeth is technical ability. And he actually sang the scale. And he said, kirtan is transcendental sound vibration descending from Goloka Vrindavan into your heart. He said, after you receive Harinam, then your kirtan will become potent. And that doesn't necessarily mean just getting the mantra from Gurudev, but receiving Harinam is certainly something different than that. As Bhaktivedānta Thakur prays, Kabe habe bolo sedina amar. When, oh when, will that day come? When my aparads, my nature to offend others and to offend Vaishnavas and to offend the holy name, when this will become insignificant and I will taste the holy name. When, oh when will that day come? Shuddhaname ruchi means when will taste for the holy name, the pure transcendental holy name manifest in my heart. So Srila Gurudev said, kirtan, real kirtan is descending from Goloka Vrindavan into your heart. As Narottam Das Thakur said, Golokera Premadhana Harinama Sankirtana. It is from there to here. In this connection, once we were at, I believe it was Talaban, in Vrindavan, Talaban, where Lord Balaram killed Dhenugasur, the ass demon. And Krishna also helped him. They killed so many other ass demons. So, in that place, Srila Gurudev saw that some devotees were chanting japa on their heart, on their beads during the parikrama. They were chanting on their beads, but parikrama was going on and kirtan was going on at that time. And Gurudev said, if I see anyone chanting on your mala, I will take your mala from you. He said, do you think your own private personal chanting is more powerful than the kirtan of Mahaprabhu? Do you know who is leading this parikrama? He said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, our Panchatattva, they are leading this parikrama. And who is there in that parikrama? All of our Goswamis, all of Mahaprabhu's associates are also present there. All Vaishnavas are present there. Do you think your own private individual in the corner chanting is more powerful than the kirtan of Mahaprabhu? He said, when parikrama is going on and kirtan is going on, don't do your own separate, independent little thing, thinking that is more powerful or beneficial than the kirtan of Mahaprabhu. If I see any of you doing this, I will take your mala from you. And then he showed us, this is that kirtan. Who's present in that kirtan? This is the Golokera Premadhana Harinama Sankirtana. The kirtan of Gurudev, the kirtan of the pure Vaishnavas. This is powerful. In this connection, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he also mentioned that unless one hears the kirtan of Ashray Vigraha, Shri Guru, the pure devotee, unless one hears that kirtan, then what kirtan will we be able to do? One must hear that kirtan. So, in this connection, once I asked Srila Gurudev, I think we were in, it was at Venice, well across the water from the city, but we were staying, that was the location of Venice, Italy. I asked him, I said, our scriptures say, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranyata. That there's no other way to attain perfection other than chanting the holy names of the Lord. But also our scriptures say that only the pure holy name is sufficient. So whose chanting of the holy names is it referring to? Is it my chanting full of aparad? Nam aparad does not bring one to perfection. Is it my chanting or is it the chanting of the pure devotee? Because we look at it, we think only by chanting the holy names can one attain to perfection in this age of Kali. Who's chanting? Is it the offensive chanting of the holy name or the pure chanting of the holy name of the pure devotee? And Gurudev, very brilliantly, he said both. He said first Shravanam, hearing from that pure devotee, their kirtan of Krishna. And then repeating kirtanam. So hearing what they have chanted and then repeating that. Their glorification of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. As we have heard, then we should repeat. So he said Shravanam, then kirtanam. And this goes in line with that verse in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Dharma svanishkita pumsam vishvakshena katasya notparya jariratim shrama eva hi kevalam. All of the activities that one performs, if it does not bring about an attraction for hearing the glories of Krishna from the mouth of the pure devotees, it is all hard, useless labor. Shrama eva hi kevalam. So Srila Gurudev said both are necessary. First to hear from Sri Guru, and then to also chant ourselves. And this is confirmed by Mahaprabhu also in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said, Shravana Kirtana Jale Koriye Sechan. By the mercy of Krishna, Guru manifests in our life. And Guru awakens the desire to serve Krishna in our heart by his Harikatha. That is Bhakti Lata Beach, the seed of the creeper of devotion. By hearing from the pure devotees, by associating with the pure devotees, the desire to serve Krishna, Krishna Seva Vasanam, awakens in our heart. And by that, then, how does one nourish that tendency? Mahaprabhu says, Shravana Kirtana Jale Koriye Sechan. Hearing Harikatha and doing Kirtan of that Harikatha, means of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. This is the water. Shravana Kirtana Jale. Jale means water, which will nourish that tendency, that nature to love and serve Krishna. And Srila Gurudev said both are necessary. What? Okay. What a beautiful reconciliation there. Srila Gurudev was always reconciling. We have heard Srila Gurudev even tell different kathas at different times. Sometimes we hear that Mother Yashoda is golden. Sometimes we hear that she's darkish complexion like Krishna. How does one reconcile or understand this? But Srila Gurudev explained, according to Shastra, her general complexion is like Krishna's. She's his mother. So Krishna's complexion is like that. But in other kathas, we hear something different. So how do you reconcile that her complexion would be different? Depending on her bhav, on her mood, then you will understand. I wanted to tell this, but we still haven't gone to that place yet, so I can't exactly tell it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So once upon a time, Srila Gurudev would tell us. Just near Nanda Bhavan in Gokul, the place called Brahmanda Ghat. The cowherd-boys were teasing Krishna. They were telling Krishna, you know, Yashoda and Nanda, they can't really be your real parents. Because you're so dark and they're so fair complexion. So how can you be their real son? We think that perhaps when Nanda Baba was out with the cows, he found you in the hole of a tree. Your real mother, she couldn't take care of you, so she left you in the hole of the tree. And Nanda Baba found you there. He felt sorry for you, so he brought you home to Yashoda, and she accepted you. They can't really be your real parents. And Krishna was first, he thought it was just like they were joking, they were laughing, but he was feeling a little bit sad in his heart. Maybe. It could be true. And they were like, ha, ha, like this, laughing and pointing. In the beginning, Krishna was laughing a little bit, but then he looked over at his brother for confirmation. Baladev. Like, is what they're saying true? And Baladev said, like this, yeah. And Baladev took the side of the other boys and was also teasing Krishna. Krishna became very upset. He left that place immediately. He ran home. Normally he would run into his mother's arms and she would embrace him. But he didn't do that this day. Instead, he ran into his room and started packing his bags. He put everything in one cloth, put it on the end of a stick. Yashoda was surprised. What happened? You didn't say hello? You didn't say anything? What are you doing? He said, I'm packing. I'm leaving. What? Why are you leaving? He said, the boys told me the truth today. That you're not my real mother. And Nanda Baba's not my real father. They told me the truth. She said, what are you talking about? They told me that he found me in the hole of a tree. My real mother couldn't take care of me. He felt sorry for me, so he brought me home and you accepted me, but you're not my real parents. She's like, that's ridiculous. Of course we're your real parents. She said, on what authority do you have? He said, I confirmed it with Daubhaya. I confirmed it with Baladev. She said, no. Why are you packing your bags? He said, I'm going to find my real mother. She said, I swear to Nārāyaṇa, I am your real mother. You came from my womb. And he said, then why are you so fair complexion and I'm so dark? She said, your father and I, we could not conceive a child for so long, so we were praying to Shalagram. Praying and praying to Shalagram. They worship Narasimha Shalagram. We were praying, please. And by his mercy, we attained a son. So because Shalagram is so black, you also came. By his mercy, you also came black like Shalagram. I swear you are my son. We did the umbilical cutting ceremony. Gurudev would tell this again and again. This was another speciality of our Gurudev. Establishing that Krishna in Vrindavan is not the same as Krishna in Mathura and Dwarka. As confirmed in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gurudev would fight this point with everyone. All of the Pandits in Mathura, all of the Pandits in Gokul, all over Braj, and he established Braj Krishna as the original supreme form of Godhead. This Krishna. So, Mother Yashoda was concerned. Krishna wants to leave home. She said, I vow to Nārayan, I swear you came from my womb. And she was trying to give him proof. And he was like, any other proof? She said, come with me. So she brought Krishna to the Goshala. And there, she said, you see that calf? What color is he? And little Krishna said, he's black. She said, do you see his mother? What color is she? Krishna said, white. And the father? He's also white. She said, so you see, sometimes in nature, it happens like this. I swear you are my son. You are my son. I swear. Then Krishna accepted. And then he embraced his mother. She embraced him. Gurudev would tell these sweet pastimes of Krishna. How all of these beautiful pastimes, there's this tension which creates this greater sense of possessiveness, greater the sense of impending separation, which brings together and creates such a beautiful and sweet meeting. But through this is one of the proofs that Srila Gurudev gives, that Mother Yashoda vows and swears to Nārayan that you came from my womb. Krishna came from her womb, and they did the umbilical cutting ceremony. This is one of the proofs. Srila Gurudev would go to everyone, everywhere, and prove this point through all of the verses in Śrīmad Bhagavatam, through so many sources in Shastra. He would prove this point. And I remember in 1996, after the Pandits were saying there in Gokul, in the house of Nanda Maharaj, Chaurasi Kamba, 84 columned palace, there, that Pandit was speaking for half an hour, trying to get us all excited and asking for donations. Saying Krishna was born in the jail cell of King Kamsa in Mathura, and then Vasudeva Maharaj brought him here and placed him next to Yashoda and took the baby girl. This is one understanding. But Srila Gurudev gave evidence from Śrīmad Bhagavatam itself, which our Srila Prabhupada also gives in Śrīmad Bhagavatam itself, in his own commentaries there. Srila Gurudev gave very strong evidence to this Pandit, and he called a meeting of all of the Pandits there. You can see it on the video. 1996. And he said, no true Brajbasi can ever say, no true Brajabasi can ever say that Krishna is of Devaki, born in Mathura. And they say, yes, but the verse says, Jayati Jayati Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavado. Do you know that Mother Yashoda? Yashoda means famous. It's a nickname for her. You know what her birth name is? Devaki. Devaki Janmavado. He is born from Devaki. But in Mathura, he was not born. He manifested as a 16-year-old youth with long hair, beautiful long yellow clothes, Vaijanti Mala down past his knees, the garland, helmet, 4 arms, conchal, disc, club, lotus flower, and Vasudeva and Devaki offered so many prayers to him. But when he was born, simultaneously, from the womb of Yashoda, as the twin of Yogamaya, at that time, Mother Yashoda did not offer prayers to him. She just offered him her breast milk. So Gurudev established these points again and again to all the Pandits and everywhere. He said, promise me from this day forward you will not tell this. No true Brajbasi could ever say such a thing. Promise me you will not speak that. He would tell this to the Pandits, and they would be like this, holding their ears, meaning, I accept what you're telling. You have given all proof, all verification and everything. What can they say? Gurudev was a true Brajbasi, through and through, always establishing these essential truths from the perspective of the Brajabasis, the true Brajbasis, the eternal associates of Krishna, for he is just that. And it was so amazing to see him do this. And then, once every 100 years, all of the Brajbasi Pandits, the big elders and everyone would come together and decide who we are going to gift this title to, Yuga Acharya. And they unanimously came up with the choice of bestowing that unto our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. When they presented this idea to him, I was there in, just down from Uchagaon. Gurudev started laughing. He said, I'm not Yugacharya. Rupa Goswami is Yugacharya. Bhaktivedānta Thakur, they're all Yugacharya. He said, but on behalf of them, I will accept this. But he's like, I am not the Yugacharya. He didn't really like to be, this thing. But anyhow, they wanted to give this glorification. So he accepted it on behalf of his Gurudev and his Guru Varga. But this was the kind of affection that they all had for him. They all respected him. They all honored him. When we would say his name, they would all, very good, very good. They had so much admiration for him. And he was uncompromising and at the same time so kind and affectionate. Somehow, he was able to bring it all together in a way that all the different groups, they admired him, they honored him, and yet he never once compromised with the truth. Such a beautiful nature that he was able to tell all of these essential truths and even change their conceptions which they held from birth. And yet they continued to respect and honor him and gave him this lofty title, Yuga Acharya. So, Srila Gurudev has given innumerable, wonderful, transcendental teachings and instructions, all in accordance with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. He would always say, I'm not giving anything new or anything different. It's the same wine in a different bottle. Same substance in a different form. I'm not giving anything new. And for him and for us, this should actually be a sign of his true glory. That he's not manufacturing anything. He's not giving anything. He's only helping us to understand the teachings of our Guru Varga, of Srila Prabhupada, of all of our Guru Parampara, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Rupa Goswami. This was such a miracle for me. Sitting there in front of him in that first lecture, I really was trying to listen to him in Seattle. What is it that I'm supposed to be getting from this person? Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. What is it coming from the mouth of Guru that's supposed to purify my mind? And I was watching and watching and watching. And suddenly it just hit me like a hurricane. My God. When he speaks, he's making it make sense. On my own, I was just kind of skipping over the surface, like a rock skipping over the surface of the water, and I wasn't touching any depth. And then when he spoke those same subjects, he was able to find one word, and with that one word, when, dive deep, and just unveil so many beautiful transcendental jewels. He made it make sense. Not only that, when he would speak about Krishna and his sweet pastimes, he would fully absorb us. We would be fully saturated in his katha. He would transport us, and we would see it as if it was a movie in front of us. These beautiful, sweet pastimes of Krishna. And then he would tell us, what you have heard from me, now you can go back to your homes, and then open that treasure chest and investigate all of those jewels you have received. And then he would say, chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. Chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna, along with don't be weak and be strong. Always chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. In this world, there is no problem. We think there are so many problems coming. There is no problem. There's only one. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupana Guru Varga ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Now, we have not chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra yet. So, we just did, but not singing it. So, I think I'm going to do this with the mridanga, because Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Gurudeva ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Rūpānuga Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavan Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Om. Śrīla Gurudeva ki jai. So thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to continue remembering the sweet pastimes of our Gurudev, remembering the teachings of our Gurudev and Guru Varga, and all of the lessons that our Gurudev has given to all of us. So also, we want to express to you our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of Śrīla Gurudev to us in our lives, that we should, even after he's no longer on this sphere, meaning he's continuing traveling and preaching elsewhere, that still we should continue inspiring on his behalf and preaching and sharing his teachings and conceptions. So you're giving us this opportunity. For that we are indebted. And we look forward to being with you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Miriam Mamatama Muni, what do you mean print? What print? She wrote that print.
What print?
What print?
You mean of Gurudev? That's Sudevi's extra special secret print.
Very secret.
She gave away every other photo she took of Gurudev. But that one?
Okay.
When Gurudev saw it, you know what he said? We were in Singapore and we presented a photo album to him of all of the photos we took during Braj Mandal Parikrama. And so we didn't think that how was he going to carry this big, massive phone book in his photo album in his luggage. But anyhow, we presented it to him and he was flipping through the pictures one after another. One of them he saw and he had some stains on his teeth and he was like, oh, don't show anyone like this. And then he saw pictures of the domes of his temples and he was like, oh, you should take photos of my domes, he said. And then he came to this picture here. And when he saw it, he said, so good. Just like that. Oh, so good. Full body like that. And he had actually posed for Sudevi. She asked, can I take your picture? And this was in 1996 at Keshi Ghat, just at the time when Bandhu Sangeeth Charita Varanga Parihas had been sung. And this was our taking our vrat there, making our vow at the beginning of Kartik at Keshi Ghat. Sudevi said, can I take your photo? And then he sat very strong and looked straight into the lens and she took the picture. So this one she has kept for her personal bhajan.
This is a smaller one of it, so you can see his eyes are very...
very clear. So there you go. That print. That Gurudev. How beautiful. Śrīla Gurudeva ki jai.
On the blue fabric.
Print on the blue fabric.
Print on the blue...
Oh, this one. That print.
Oh, that!
I thought you were talking about the print of Gurudev. Sorry, that's Sudevi's personal bhajan picture.
Oh, okay. Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.